Hey guys, Joe Duffy here. Sorry it took me so long to get around to answering all your questions. I'm just gonna whiz through the questions now and hopefully give you guys some answers. So, first question, do you think I'll get a rematch with Dustin or Conor? I don't think the fight with Conor will ever gonna happen. Especially if this Mayweather fight does happen. I don't think he'll have too many fights in MMA. And the fight with Dustin, I would say there's a good possibility that fight could happen. Obviously, as I get back up the rankings, there's a fight that could definitely take place. In that fight, what surprised me, I would say, is toughness. He was definitely tough. I hit him with some good shots, and also he's got an awkward style. He switches stances, and when he steps through, and it covered the distance quite quick, which caught me off guard. Um, yeah, I'm confident, in the rematch with Conor. You know, but I think as a fighter, it's one of them things you got to be confident against everyone. Especially at this level, we're in the game and we're fighting the top guys in the world. So you got to trust your ability, and whoever you're fighting, you gotta be ready to go. Favorite BJJ practitioner. I wouldn't say I follow like BJJ itself too much. More the sub only guys. I've been lucky enough to work with Gordon Ryan and Gary Tonin, and them guys are incredible. You know, they really do. They play around with the technique, and whatever they're working on, they make sure in their training, they put themselves in that position and work on their stuff. They're not busy there just trying to kill you and get submissions. They're always working on new stuff, and I found them both very impressive and very helpful also. My ambitions for 2017, I would like to get in the rankings. I feel after losing to Dustin, that was my opportunity to get in the rankings. But I'm only a few fights away. I feel especially with my style, and there's a lot of guys in the top 15. I feel that I match up very well with. So I would like to be in or around the top 10 this year. If I fight Conor, would I look to stand a trade or go to the ground? I suppose it just depends what's there. I'm very confident in my stand up. The area he was probably better at me when we fought them was stand up. Obviously, my time in boxing, I feel like that level's really increased, and obviously he's improved his ground game. So I suppose it's just whatever opportunity is presented at the time. The fight with Conor is not a huge priority, to be honest. Obviously he's got the belt now, so I got my one eye on it. But I'm not at the stage. I need to get a few fights in, get some wins, get in the top 10, and then I'll be chasing the belt. Whoever's got the belt. Where do I feel strongest in the fight? Um, I would say now is probably striking. You know, the depth I went into with the boxing, I definitely feel that I've got a slight advantage over a lot of people there, and I've been working a lot on different stuff, and I feel like I've added another level to my game again. So I would say the stand up. If I could go back to the Masato fight, uh, yeah, I think I think I rushed the get up. That would definitely be something I would change. Because the hand was broke. Like I was frightened that he would start pounding. I'd have to protect my face with that hand, and it was very painful even in the fight. So I think the get up I rushed a little bit, and I stayed on my knees too long. I should have been getting straight to my feet. So I think I should have just been a bit more patient. Rode it out and just relaxed on the bottom. and I think, you know, I would have, you know, it wasn't long to go. I think, you know, one more round, I would have just chipped away as best I could and took it that way. The idea of fighting outside of UFC, I'm quite excited by the opportunity. Really, I suppose, you know, it opens new doors. You know, I can fight in different places again. So, you know, I'll just see where it all leads me. I'm not, you know, I'm not making any decisions now. My priority is on the fight, and wherever it takes me from here, I suppose I'm excited to go down that road also. So just look at the second page here. My approach in sparring didn't change since the fight in Dublin. You know, the fight in Dublin was just a freak accident. It's one of them that when you're in the sport long enough, it's gonna happen. It was a combo. I didn't see the kick, and I moved into it, and obviously, you know, that's it. I definitely, I feel like if there's been any change, it's been, you know, in my level of sparring, I suppose. You know, the last spar before, the week before is, you know, guys who's definitely not at that top level. Because obviously, you know, sometimes your last spar, you build it up to be something it's not, and then you end up going in not as sharp. So, you know, I try to go with guys who's, you know, less experienced, or, you know, maybe not the top guys. My favorite finish, yes, definitely the Basouge fight. You know, there's something that just, there's no feeling like a knockout, I suppose. You know, when you get a knockout, you know, the feeling after is incredible. That or the cassette, you know, both give me the same feeling. But the Basouge fight, I just felt the timing was better, and you know, it was one that you know, definitely sticks with me to this day. The Parke fight, how close was I to finish the triangle? You know, I needed a little bit of time. I knew time wasn't on my side. You know, I would say, you know, an extra 20 seconds, and you know, it would have been in tight. But you know, I knew I wasn't far away. That's, you know, looking back, I'm frustrated. Like, I was throwing elbows. Maybe I should have, you know, pulled it in the head and squeezed. But you know, at that time, I thought, you know, maybe there's a chance, you know, I get a knockout from there, which is crazy. But you know, I didn't really have much time. Jojo's phone number, I don't even know if she's got a phone. Outside of fighting, I would say my main interest is sport. You know, I love sport. Rugby, I'm a huge fan of rugby. You know, Six Nations coming up now, so I'm excited for that. Do I worry before fights? It changes every time. You know, sometimes I get nerves, but, you know, for a while, I felt since I came back from boxing, I haven't really got that nervous. I just, you know, I just, once I start warming up, if I ever got nerves, I feel the nerves disappear.